I wanted to go over the 3 different ways I most commonly use to custom dye my tissue paper. This technique is kind of your one-step process and probably the easiest and quickest. What it's doing is combining the binding of the tissue paper as well as the coloring all in one swoop. The other 2 ways that I use are a 2-step process because you have to take care of the tissue paper and then you bind it. Whereas this, we're going to do it all at the same time. So what I have here is 3 sheets of plain white tissue paper, and I've made a small amount of glue mixture. What I want to do now is add the dye directly into here. I'm going to use golden yellow color to start with, and it will be all one color. There's no gradient yet. We will tackle that. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour some in here, and I'm being generous. In here, it's looking very orange. So I'm going to test it on a little paper towel, but it is yellow. I actually think I'm just going to add a touch of lemon yellow. You definitely want to mix it really, really well. And like I said, try the color on a piece of white paper towel before you touch your tissue paper. So I like this color yellow a lot. I think it's going to look nice. I also think it'll dry a little bit lighter than it looks in this cup. I tend to do a quick stroke this way, and then I start doing like a star so that my paper doesn't shift. So it's kind of a fine area of knowing the glue went through without oversaturating it, if that makes sense. And just keep using a light stroke. So now you're saying, oh, great, 1 shade. It is going to be exactly 1 shade of paper with no gradient. But what we can do is add a little gradient to it. I recommend getting a little travel size spray bottle, and you can put your dye right in it. Just make sure you shake it real well. And I also dilute it about 50% with water. So I'm going to try a marigold color. I'm a little concerned it might be dark, so let me see. I'm going to put like this much in and see what happens. And again, to test it, spray it on a white paper towel so that you see what it's going to do. Personally, that's a little too brown for me, so I'm going to dump some out and add more water. Okay, test 2. I think I can live with this. It's not quite as dark. Now I'm going to just go in and spray randomly some spots where I want some color. So you see it's going to start leaving some spots here and there. It's going to give your paper just a little bit of something so that there's a little difference here and there. Another way to add the color is to put it in a bowl and just paint it on a little bit. So let's try some of those too. So now at least your paper is not just all yellow. It's got a little bit of personality to it. Knew that was a lot. Anytime you want to take it off, just do that time, you can go back. So now we're just going to cover this up with parchment paper and put some weight on it and check on it in 48 hours. So the downfall to this technique, which is removing the color, is that you're starting with a standard tissue paper color right out of the package. So the only thing that you can really do to this is we're going to be dunking it into a bleach and water solution. So it will make some white gradient, which looks perfect and lovely, and I'm okay with this yellow, and it's an easy way to make your petals interesting without going through the process of adding dye. These are all here just so that I can drip dry them for a few minutes. I also always use puppy training mats underneath. They're awesome for absorbing, and they help pull the moisture out so they dry real quickly. So it's very important that you're using a art tissue paper. You don't want a waxy tissue paper. You want an art tissue that will bleed. So this happens real subtly, and to stop the process of the bleaching, you want to wet it right away. Now that I've wet it, I might go ahead and bleach a little more to get more. But you see how it's starting to bleach? Now I want it to stop. So as soon as you get it to the white that you want, run it under cold water. Now you can drain it either way. If you want the darker color to go down, you can do that. If you want more yellow to come forward, you can drain it this way, and it'll get some nice streaks coming down. I personally want the edges to be white on these. So again, you're just dipping a couple seconds because it's gonna happen quickly, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have white flowers. So you see where we're going? So you can keep flipping the paper to get it to drip how you want. I mean, you have to admit this is kind of fun, right? Getting your hands dirty, playing. When did we stop playing? So these are 3 layers. Each packet is 3 layers of tissue, and then I am gonna let these dry, and then we'll bind them like we normally do to make paper petals. This last technique is my favorite. We're actually going to add dye into white tissue paper, but it will have the gradient that we often desire in our flowers. So you're actually just heat mixing different dye colors and water till you get exactly the shade you're looking for. In this case, I was looking for a real soft lemon or butter kind of yellow. So once you start settling on your color, you're just going to dip it kind of like we did in the bleaching process, but you're adding color instead of taking it away. And you'll end up with beautiful white tips on your flowers. And again, you can let it drip whichever way you want the color to streak. So what's on the board now are the 2 different styles of custom dyeing that we did. This was actually our yellow color that we prepared. It was a lemon yellow, and we added it to white tissue paper. This was yellow tissue paper that we bleached. So now that all of that has dried, we're going to bind these 3 layers together. Now we're going to cover it up with another layer of parchment paper. I love the reveal. So here we are 48 hours later, and I just love the texture as well as the color of my rose petals. Now this is the solid sheet that we did the glue and the dye together and then painted on some streaks in marigold. So these are the 3 different dyeing techniques that we've gone over. This one was our own custom color. We dyed white tissue paper, then bound it with glue, and then made the flower. This one is an out of the package yellow, canary yellow tissue paper that we bleached the ends of, and then also had to do a second process of binding it with glue. And then this one is kind of the shortcut process of adding dye straight into the glue and kind of painting on some dye with a paintbrush afterwards. So you can see all 3 end up with a very different look. Hope you try out all 3 techniques and let me know how it goes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so that you see all my latest tutorials.